If you're a small business owner or a salesperson, somebody who's moving along in their career, you're going to have to be able to network. Being able to do that face-to-face, above and beyond social media and hey, like me and all that, the bottom line is sooner or later, you're going to have to look somebody in the eyes and you're going to have to gain their trust and be able to initiate a dialogue that's constructive and leads to another dialogue, etc. There is nobody in Omaha, Nebraska that I personally know that does that better than the next guy you're going to meet right here. He's been here before. I've known him for years. Please welcome my old friend, Mr. Larry Humberstone, everybody, right here. Yes, looking dapper today, looking dapper.
You didn't have to say old friend.
I know. You know, Larry Gomez said the same thing to me. My veteran friend. No, I don't know if that's so good. Hey, listen, you know, speaking of Larry Gomez, he retired from the Chamber of Commerce, as you know, about a month or so, five weeks ago. We were both at that event. Your lovely wife was there. It was a big event. David Brown presided over that as well. Yes. As he saw. And it was a great upscale group, a bunch of executives in the room for a sustained period of time. And I was keeping an eye on you, Larry. I was watching what you were doing, and you were really working the room beautifully. And so I'm just going to have the courage to come right out right now and say, how do you do it? How do you come up to somebody you don't know or barely know or whatever and really make the use of your time in networking rather than just sitting over in a corner with the drink in your hands and waiting to go home?
Well, then I'd have to say it's totally driven by survival.
You have to do it, right?
I mean, if you own a small business, if you're trying to build a business, you have to be able to network. You need that face time. I started out in corporate life with Procter & Gamble.
Yes.
And I had no trouble getting in because I had a Procter & Gamble card and everyone wanted to talk to me.
Yeah, and this is a very interesting point. You know, people go, I want to have my own little business and so on. You better remember that when you do that and you make a phone call to a prospect, they don't answer the phone quickly. If you say, hey, I'm Lynn with Procter & Gamble, they answer the phone. It's a fundamental consideration, but go ahead.
So after that, I got together with some business associates, and I already had credibility in that industry, and we started a new company called Capri Sun.
I remember.
And we launched Capri Sun, and after we sold it, I decided, well, what am I going to do next? And I ended up coming to Omaha to launch a business.
That's
and
right.
I put a sign up on the door, and I had really nice office furniture, and I had a great product, and no one knocked on the door.
Nobody came, right?
And
you said, what's going on here?
Well, like a lot of small businesses, I didn't have the marketing dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, I just plain didn't have the marketing
Didn't have
dollars.
it, that's right.
So I went to the Chamber
common
of
thing.
Commerce and said, what can I do? Because I'm about to go out of business.
Yes.
And I got involved with them and started networking, and before long, I ended up, just by coincidence, knowing about 80% of the people in town in business.
That's right.
So that's how it happened. But
what are the tactical things? If you had to distill it down, I mean, is it just simply saying, hi, I'm Larry, and I hear this, or finding something in common, or is it working through people you kind of know and then saying, hey, would you introduce me to Joe over there? I mean, what tactics do you like to employ when you're in a group and you're interested in getting some?
I think Aaron Goldsmith answered that question very well. You have to ask questions.
Yeah.
When you meet somebody, and the great thing about a networking event is everyone there is there to do business.
Yeah.
So you say, what do you do? And it's not unlike dating, what's your sign? I mean,
Although I have resorted to that as well, by the way. That's not always inappropriate, but yeah, I know what you're saying. So when you ask questions, people like to talk about themselves, and it takes the onus off of you. You don't have to deliver your elevator speech too much.
The big thing that I've noticed, though, Lynn, is younger people with the constraints on time, they don't always have time to network, and people want to do business with people they have a visual with. They want to trust them. They want to, and so this whole online thing, this electronic thing.
And the videos that we learned about earlier, that kind of creates the bridge, that kind of creates bridges the gap.
When I talk about videos to my friends, they're kind of at a loss. They really are going, what do you mean video? I don't know what to,
Yeah.
That's just me talking about my business.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting thing that you say, because I hear the same thing too. We have WOWBIZ. We have two products, video products out there. One called WOWBIZ Inside Scoop, which is different than this, as you know. And so people ask me those questions as well. How do you typically answer those? I mean, how do you explain the value of an instructional video or an executive video on a website?
Well, I think the way to have value in your video is to have it not be a commercial. And the last thing you want to do is get on and tell somebody how great your company is. You want to be an authority in your field. And you know, one of the things you do with people here on the show, you don't talk so much about their company, you talk about what they do.
And we try to
talk about what's going on in the industry.
Try to share different things. And that's why we package the WOWBIZ Inside Scoop video. Should we talk about that for a second? I think I'd like to know what your take is on those WOWBIZ Inside Scoop videos. Now, that's the other set of videos. They're different from the news show that we're a part of right now, obviously. What's your take on that? We talked about it a little bit earlier. I'm interested in your thoughts.
Well, it's pretty much a no-brainer. I mean, it's affordable for people that cannot get out. And Marcia just talked about all the networking she's doing.
Yes.
Keep it cheap. She values her time.
Sure.
Even though we've worked together in the past, I
Yeah,
have trouble
yeah.
finding time with her because she's so busy.
Yeah.
That's part of being self-employed.
Yeah.
So how do you maximize your time?
Yeah.
And if you
how
have
do you
a video-
spread yourself out, right?
So if you do an interview with somebody like you, Lynn Hinderrocker, that can bring out the best in you and talk about your industry, and attach it to your website, find it on Yahoo,
Facebook.
and WOWBIZ,
Right.
then you've got credibility. You're
Yeah.
not promoting your company.
And you know the thing that I think people resonate so much with, and you saw it with Dan, you see it with a variety of different people here, is this notion of thought leadership. And then we'll wrap up here because we have a great final interview here today. Even a small business owner who just got in business knows what the thought leadership concept is. When you see that guy right there, that person right there, he's an expert, he's a smart person, he shares, I learned a lot from him. The next time I'm in the market for that product or service, I'm gonna go talk to that person. They're a thought leader, and I found out about it because he shared it in a 5 or 10 minute interview on camera, and I learned a ton. That was great advice. I'm gonna listen to him a second time. I think that's the fastest way to go from A to Z insofar as establishing credibility, especially with these young folks that we see in the audience out here. Would you agree?
Absolutely, Lynn. I mean, the times I've attended your broadcasts here,
Yeah.
I've developed 6 business relationships.
Yeah.
And had I wouldn't have had to have been here. I could have seen it online,
Right.
and I would have had confidence in that individual.
It actually does work. Thank you so much, Larry, and thank you for talking not only about your history in networking and a couple tactical things, but the future, really, of networking and thought leadership. My friend Larry Humberstone, everybody, right here. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
Stay right here. We'll be right back. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker on WOWBIZTV.com. Our final interview coming up today, right here at Creighton University at the Harper Center at Hickson Lead, with all of our great Creighton students in the audience. Let's hear it right now, executives. For the young folks who have put effort into this. They've tried to be here. They've worked on it. Thank you so much for your help. We'll be right back.